Okay, Shelby, this is the last part. And I don't have anybody to film for me. So I'm just showing you. Hopefully this is all captured. You're gonna pour this onto a floured cutting board. This is after all day of kind of turning it. It looks like this. It's still sticky, so I wet my hands. But I put it on that floured surface, and I'm gonna get flour on my hands because I'm gonna cut it into two. This is kind of the last process before you put it in your bread baskets. You should have, I think I got you some. But you're gonna cut this in half because what the recipe I do is for 2 loaves. And I'm just using a little bit of flour to help it not stick. And you're just gonna kind of turn it, and we're gonna let it sit again. And one more, just getting my hands wet putting flour on my hands so that, and I'm just kind of going under the edges to make these 2 balls. And then I'm going to cover this for another like 30 minutes, and then I'll turn it back on. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. So now you take the bread baskets, and you do need to get white or brown rice flour, and you just sprinkle it in to line it so it's got, just so it doesn't stick, basically. My hands are still clean. I haven't done anything. Just gonna put a little bit more flour on because they're still gonna be sticky. You just don't want it to stick to you or and you're gonna turn it. See, it's sticking to me. And because this one is a long bread basket, I kind of try to shape it long. But you're not doing too much to it now, because now it's just gonna sit in here to to ferment overnight in the fridge. And because it's 2, you do it for 2 of them. Now, I once had a friend who I taught how to do this, and she cut the recipe, and she's experimented with it so many different ways, which play around with it. You know, once you try it the way I know. I've been bad about experimenting, but she would do it in like make rolls or baguettes, things like that. So you're just turning it and plopping it. And then, oh, look, I got some stuck to me from that guy. Then I'm just going to cover them with a towel and put them in the fridge overnight, and you could bake it in the morning, or you could, you know, I've let them sit in there for more than a day before, but I think you're really supposed to do it after you've let it sit for the night. All right, and then you just bake it at 500 degrees for 20 minutes with the lid on in a Dutch oven, and then turn it down to 450 and bake for another 10 minutes or until you can tap on the crust. But I'll show you that tomorrow.